Kim, welcome. Thanks for sitting down with me.
Absolutely, thank you.
So you started at Dallas City Hall as an intern.
Yes.
What has the journey been like to go from an intern at City Hall to now the city manager,
Yes.
first black woman to be city manager?
Yes. You know, every time I think about it, I smile first because it's truly been because I think God smiled on my life. So this moment is, it's a moment of history for the city. But for me, it's personal and it's professional. It's personal because it truly shows that when you feed your dreams and you starve your doubts, you can do anything. And on the professional side, it's a responsibility for me to ensure that as I lead the city, that I'm also remembering that generation of leaders behind me that are coming behind me. And how can I use this time as the city manager to continue to ensure that we're investing in other leaders? And so it's a full circle moment. I came into this building, into City Hall, over 30 years ago, and was hired by the first woman city manager for the city of Dallas. And so that in itself is like was inspiration for me. But I showed up energized, eager, excited about growing and learning. And I still bring that every single day. Every day I walk in this building, I'm still excited as I was back then. I'm eager to get things done and truly excited about what the future holds. So it's an honor, but it comes with so much that every day I don't get a chance to take off the hat. And most of my days I have to remind myself that this is an assignment. And because it's an assignment, I show up every single day and I'm prepared to deliver and working with a team of individuals that help me do that. So I smile because I know that this didn't happen overnight. That journey has not been a journey that has been all paved roads. There have been the bumps and the roadblocks, there have been the potholes, but it's been a journey that I would do all over again.
Why'd you want to be city manager?
You know, I knew that it was something that I aspired to be one day. But for me, it was really a simple thing that happened during my time of growing up. And I'm from East Texas, grew up in Tyler, spent a lot of time with my grandparents throughout my earlier years. And my grandparents were restaurant owners. They were like one of the few restaurant owners in the city who were African American. And so I would spend time with my grandfather driving around the city. He went to, pick up things for the restaurant. I would be with him, and I asked a lot of questions because I talk a lot. And so I remember this day, and I remember it just like it happened. And so I'm with my grandfather. We're talking in the car, and I'm asking questions. I'm sitting in the back seat, and I'm pointing out things that are different in the side of town where the restaurant was than where we lived. And so as I'm asking these questions, and I'm talking about everything from, street lights to sidewalks to the difference in the playgrounds on the side of the city that I grew up in. I grew up in North Tyler. My grandfather asked me this question, and it was very simple, but it was a question that I will never, ever forget. And he said, will you be someone who complains about the things that are wrong, or will you do something about it? And so for me, that became the starting point of my public service journey, because I realized that this was a profession that I could actually do something about it, and I could be a part of bringing change within a community. And so thought at one point that I wanted to be an attorney, and a wonderful professor of mine talked me out of that and said, no, you're too honest for that. But public service, I think it found me, and it's really given me an opportunity to bring about solutions and how I solve problems and doing it to the betterment of a community. And that gives me joy. And so I can't think of another profession or anything else that I would want to be doing now in my professional life than making cities better and actually growing and investing in people.
Well, let's get to the business, shall we?
Let's go.
You came in as interim.
Yes.
You needed a police chief. The city needed a new fire chief for Dallas Fire Rescue. Both have been hired. Both are a few months into the job. What was that process like, and how do you think it's going so far?
Yes. Those were some big opportunities for me, starting out in the role of the interim city manager. And I'll say it this way: even coming into the role as the interim city manager, I knew that I couldn't be a seat warmer. because I like to get things done. And so the very day, like day one of my appointment, I sent council a plan, and I said, hey, here are the things I'm going to do. And what I appreciated about this body that I have an opportunity to partner with, nobody told me to stop. It was go handle your business. And so having the confidence of the city council and the trust that I know that I had with them and that I have now, it really gave me what I needed to move forward. So right after my permanent appointment in January, 2 days later, we were ready to go with both of those search processes. And I think that surprised some people, but I'd already been thinking about it because I knew that it was an opportunity, and I didn't want to delay it. I didn't want to drag the process out because we needed to get the leadership in both of those positions quickly. So the processes were I would say they were intentionally done to where we could bring in feedback from the community. We brought stakeholders in for both of those processes. We included them in what I call kind of the panel opportunities to give input and provide feedback on both of the candidates. And we had great pools for both the fire chief and the police chief. Absolutely top-notch candidates in both of those processes. And so it really came down to what was needed in both of those departments right now. What were ways that we could continue to have leaders that were being innovative, that could put the well-being of our officers first, that could truly demonstrate commitment to continuing to build trust in the community and within those departments was key, and who had demonstrated performance doing those things. And so I'm excited about both of them. I call them Chief B, and I got a Chief C for Chief Ball and for Chief Como, and they're working very well together. They actually are working in partnership with one another, and that's key in how we move both of those departments forward. So I look forward to all the other great things that they're going to do. They've hit the ground running, they're boots on the ground leaders, and I'm excited about what the future holds, having both of them leading two of our most important departments in the city.
To the Police Training Academy.
Yes.
Okay, the budget, a little bit of a mess, a little bit over. I think a lot of folks were excited about the prospect of having a new facility to train up officers.
Yes.
What are the challenges there, and what's the path forward to get it done?
So let me say this, the commitment for the new police training academy, we never wavered on the commitment. We had some bumps in the road. There were things that we needed to go back and true up with our great partner, the University of North Texas. And I think that over these last few months, we were able to do that. City Council has approved the lease agreement. We finally got that done. And so that's really given us that 20 acres that we need on the campus to be able to get this academy built and move it forward. Right now, what we are doing, we are finalizing the design plans for the academy, and the goal, and we talked about this previously with our stakeholders, is that we want to be able to break ground and begin the construction so we can deliver this facility. We know that our officers deserve it. They have waited a long time, and so to talk about it for another 1, 2, 3 years was not something that we were going to do. We were going to get it done. And so now with the action, the lease, the design, we're ready to go. And we do look forward to working with all of the stakeholders. We got some wonderful leaders out there helping us raise additional funding. We got about $96.5 million ready to go. And so we're going to break ground. And we're going to get this done. We're going to deliver this. And it's back to delivering on our commitment, but it's also going to be a huge benefit to the community as a whole. And so I'm excited about the plans. Look forward to rolling those out and coming back and talking to you more about it. But we're moving in the right direction. I'm excited about it.
You are over the budget. The budget is your specialty. One of the biggest things you do, it is budget season.
Yes.
We got our first little sneak peek not too long ago. The budget you presented to council eliminates 282 positions, adds 277, most of them under the police department,
Yes.
right? You know the question that's coming.
Yes.
Who's going to lose their job?
Yes. Well, let me frame it this way, because I think in a city of our size and an organization of our size, as we continue to reimagine services, which is kind of the journey that we've been on for this last year, you really have to get to what problems are we solving for, the resources that we have to solve those problems, and how do we position ourselves to where the priorities that we know that our residents have asked us to focus on, we're demonstrating that and they see it, and it has to show up in the budget. There's no other way to do it. And so I think about it not as an elimination. I think about it as how do we optimize our service delivery in such a way that our staffing model is reflective of that. And so as we continue to find those natural efficiencies across every single city department, I think that's why we're able to repurpose positions in such a way that in the areas of our city or the departments where they're needed the most, it's not about adding new positions to the budget. I think in the past, adding positions did not necessarily solve problems. And we're trying to solve and address some of those unique challenges that we have. And so we do believe that even with some of those positions that are impacted in the budget, that there will be opportunities to move into some of those areas where we know vacancies still exist. Having the additional capacity in the police department, our residents have asked us to do that. And so it's really about us being responsive to what we know has been requested of us. We also needed additional capacity in our code compliance department to deal with some unique issues that are happening out across the city around nighttime entertainment. And so we have taken the opportunity to look at those staffing models. That's what you should expect for us to do. And how do we now reposition and repurpose those positions to where they're clearly able to be utilized in some of those critical parts. So it's not about a sacrifice of core services. It's not about reducing services. It's about how we continue to get better as an organization. And going forward, we will continue to challenge ourselves year over year in how we look at our positions, the ways that we need to make sure that we are delivering and we're bringing about the type of change that I know that this community is asking us. We've got to work smarter. We've got to utilize technology, and a lot of what you see in this budget is allowing for us to leverage those opportunities to get out of some of the manual processes. And so there's going to be those types of impact, but not to the detriment of the city.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, even the positions that are impacted, there will be an effort to get them into some of the vacancies.
Absolutely.
So no mass layoffs at the city.
There, and I wouldn't even use no mass. What it does, it requires us to continue to look at ways to be more efficient. Efficiencies sometimes come with, do we have the right staffing models across all of our departments? And the number will change as more of those individuals that might be having to kind of redefine or transition into other parts of the organization. Some people might choose to transition out, and that's okay too. But the number will change. And every year that we've seen that is that individuals are in the process. The number will change by the time I get through the end of tomorrow. A lot of individuals will be interviewing for positions. They will be working alongside of a lot of our hiring managers. And we do believe that we'll get on the other side of it. And that impact will be one that will be positive and not necessarily negative for the organization. So I know it's always a challenge. And the headlines start with the cuts. But for us, it's really about optimizing our staffing levels.
The proposed budget has an almost 6% increase for public safety, most of it for police. When you're looking at that, how much of that was driven by the HERO amendments?
So I'll talk about it this way. Every year, across all of our departments, you're going to see the changes in ways that we have to either true up services. There are mandates that might come that we have to address. There are technology needs, and so there's a lot of that built in. There's some systems that we have to update, things that are outdated. And so what I can tell you is that this is a city that truly commits and supports public safety across the board, police and fire. And so one of the things that we do as part of our meet and confer agreement that we have with both the police and the fire department is that we do a market survey every year, and we look at that market survey to really help us position and structure the salaries in a way that maintains our competitiveness. And so you see that as part of the budget. I see the HEROES component of Proposition U as an enhancement. So it really has allowed for us to dig a little deeper. I think that's what you should expect for us to do every single year, and be able to address also the other needs that we know we have across the city. Nobody's showing up to tell me to reduce support for parks. Nobody's telling me they want less of code compliance. No one is saying that they want less of animal services. So it's a balancing act that we have to be able to deliver. And so what I think for me, it's really about how do we take what our residents have asked us to do, How do we do it in such a way that we're being responsive? First of all, we're listening, we're being responsive, but we're also being good stewards of the public dollar in a way that we're investing in the things that matter to them most. And so I think that that's what you're going to see. So we got the pension funded. The City Council approved a pension plan in September 2024. We're also looking at the adjustment for pay for not only police, but also for fire. And we've included in the budget the ramp up to where we can continue to hire additional police officers, because we know that that matters to our residents. So we're doing those things, and we're also protecting overall the core services, and we're not compromising on our integrity to deliver excellence. So I'm excited about that.
Kim, DPD is 2/3 of the general fund dollars. It's a big chunk of the pie. How much of that is based on citizen feedback, and how much of it is coming from, in part at least, Prop U?
So I would say that the total combined adjustment that we're doing around the paid component, let me start there, additionally is about $25 million. We are continuing with pay parity with police and fire. So that 25.5 roughly million allows for us to make that adjustment for the pay for both, not just for police. The pension piece, and I'll talk about that because this is important, because there's been a lot of confusion about the city's commitment to pension. Our pension payment going into the upcoming year is about $225 million. The way that the proposition talks about the way we should allocate excess revenue, it's about 50% of excess revenue that we get year over year that we're supposed to allocate to supporting pension for police, making sure that we're taking care of their pay as well as hiring. We're doing more than 50%. So when I think about the revenue growth that we're seeing over this upcoming year, it's a little over $60 million. Well, $63 million is what we're allocating in addition for both police and fire. So we're above and beyond what I would say from the proposition, and it did not take the proposition to do that. We did that last year. So I want to make sure that as we move forward, this whole conversation around the amendments, that we put things in perspective. We are doing more, and we're doing it on top of what the proposition would actually require. And that is good faith, but that's also back to the commitment that this city clearly has for our public safety, for those officers that we know that are out there keeping us safe when we're at home sleeping, but we're also making sure that we continue supporting both our police and fire departments collectively.
To Prop S now, are you have any concerns about how it is structured, how it's written, the impact it could have on local control, and that this could be a model that could be used, not even in the city of Dallas, but maybe other places as well?
You know, local government will always be as the closest to the people, period. Mm-hmm. And I think that that comes with the responsibility to maintain that level of flexibility to where we can address some of those unique needs and challenges that we have in our cities. So the cities around the country are all different. And so having that local control allows for us, again, to make the adjustments, be listening to the needs that we're getting or the concerns from our local residents, but maintaining that control, I think, is critical going forward. I think we have to continue to just be good stewards. That's why the whole transparency of how we invest dollars, maintaining that competitive edge, those things are going to be key. I can't project what the future holds when it comes to additional regulations and things that we know are happening around us, but we can do the work at the local level to make sure that we're being responsive, but at the same time, we're addressing a lot of our constraints in a way that we are truly setting ourselves up for great success in the future. And I think that's what we focused our energy on. And I think as long as we continue to do that, the things that are going to happen around us are going to happen, but I think we will continue to set ourselves up to be able to address those and still be able to come out on top for the services that we have to deliver here at the local level. That's important.
When it comes to the city's legal department, have there been any changes because of Prop S? Again, the way it's written and the way it's structured, how much attention are you paying to that?
So the city attorney's office, the city attorney reports directly to the city council, and so she would probably be better suited to answer that question more directly. But I think that, again, a city of our size, you have to prepare for those things to happen. I think if she needs to scale up and create additional support, resources, could be external support, then she'll be prepared to do that. But overall, I think we're just working together. We're working to solve problems. We're working to address the unique needs, the issues that we're being faced with right now, and we're doing it in a responsible way. And I think as things continue to evolve going forward, that's what you can count on us to continue to do. And I think we'll work through whatever those challenges might be going forward. But we're going to stay focused on the mission at hand, and that's to run this city in the most efficient way, to continue to find ways to be more innovative and focus on ways that we can continue to grow in all parts of the city. So that's what I know my focus is, and we'll be working directly with the city council to continue to move in that direction.
Only a couple more on the budget.
Not a problem.
Listen, I really want to talk to you about just the most difficult cuts to make, because,
Sure.
and this was a tough budget, Kim.
Yes.
I mean, financially. So
Yes.
what were the most challenging cuts? What do you think citizens may feel or notice?
So the goal is for them not to feel any type of changes in services. And I've talked to my team about the good words that we use, and cuts is not one of them. But one of the things that, again, that we had to start with is, what is it that our residents are telling us that they need more of? And let's focus our time and our attention on how we deliver that. So the community survey, the annual community survey, has really given us good information year over year. We're seeing some of the shifts, and I'll tell you that the number one area that our residents said, go focus and improve in this, was really around street infrastructure and improvement. Okay? Police services came after that. But the one area that was, I would say, that was in the top three in the number one position was really about how we continue to maintain our infrastructure. So what this budget shows is that we're now upping that investment. We're going to up it by $25 million additional dollars. So we're going to put about $162 million just in roads, and how we can continue to improve, the visible appearance. People complain about the condition of our roads often, and I used to have this little joke. I'd drive around the city, I was like, I wonder who's the city manager, because the potholes are big. But now that's my challenge. But I do believe that it's back to the listening. Mm-hmm. It's back to understanding the priorities of our city council, understanding the priorities of our residents, putting that together, and then not sacrificing on how we deliver those core services. So every question that I asked when departmental leadership came in to talk about their budget, do any of the ways that we're optimizing and we're creating those efficiencies, will the public see something different in a negative way? In a negative way. And I will tell you that the overwhelming response was, we can be better. And these are the ways that we can be better, and we're not compromising on any type of service delivery within this community. And so that's important, because we always want to start with how do we be better as an organization and still deliver that level of excellence and service that our residents need. So it's really reframing the conversation around ways that we can continue to streamline. You'll notice that in the budget, I've also talked about the consolidation of some additional departments that truly are going to provide a front door for how we serve people. And right now, it's spread across 4 different areas. We believe that we can have stronger impact. We can create even stronger value in those areas that we're serving people directly. And so that work will continue. We started with this whole new budgeting approach, and it's a priority-based budgeting framework. There's a lot we learned. And what we learned is that we've got to continue to dig even a little bit deeper. We've got to pull back some more layers on programs that truly we believe can deliver high value, and then identifying those programs or things that maybe we need to get out of. And those are hard conversations to have, because when people attach themselves to certain things, it's hard for you to pull that away. But that is what we should do. We're committed to it. And going into this next budgeting process, I shared with the City Council this week at the budget workshop, is that we're going to go right into the next development of the next budget right after this one is approved. Because we've got to spend the time, and we got to get back into the room, get the doors, close the doors, and get back down to the business of making sure that we're creating the most sustainable outcomes and delivering high impact. So the budgeting process will not stop after the budget is adopted, hopefully on September the 17th. We'll keep going.
Only one more on the hero amendments. Do you feel like voters really understood everything they were voting for? Do you have any concerns about the fact with especially public safety, police funding, it can't go down from here? And do you feel like the budget that you presented to council satisfies all of those amendments?
Not only does it satisfy, and I said this earlier, it elevates, it enhances, and we're doing more. Again, I don't want to dissect the whole HEROES amendments, the process, or whatever was utilized. But what I can tell you is that when you think about the ways that, and I'll talk about Prop U in particular, that started with how do we ensure that we fund pension and we do pay and then we do officers, kind of in this waterfall. We had already adopted, the council had already adopted a pension plan prior to HEROES, and the commitment was already there. And we started working on that even before then. And so what I can tell you is that I can't get in the minds of how people were, reacted to it, or the ways that people felt that it was going to work. But when you're talking about a $225 million investment for pension, you're talking about the additional pay on top of the market pay, and we've put a plan in to ramp up the number of officers, we are truly demonstrating our commitment. And we're delivering on that commitment. And so there's no wavering. It's really about, again, the balancing act that we have to continue, because we know that that is a priority, but we also know that these other things matter. Having our clean, healthy parks, continuing with the overall quality of life, dealing with our unsheltered population. These things we also have to continue to invest in. And so I think the more we talk about the ways that we're being responsive, the more we talk about the ways that we're showing that accountability, and we're doing it in a transparent way. There are no secrets here. We are going to come out, we're going to tell you when we're doing it right. We're going to tell you if there are things that we need to go back and fine tune and adjust, we're going to do it. But I think overall, I look at the HEROES piece of the Proposition U in particular as a way that we can enhance, and we've already demonstrated that enhancement, and we're doing even more than what the proposition calls for. That's a good story. That's a good story. And we're not compromising on our commitment to also being able to invest in all critical parts of the city. So I'm excited. I do look forward to having those additional conversations as we go forward with ways that we're going to continue to transform and continue to be a better organization. It's about being more innovative. It's about continuing the work to be as efficient, being that model of excellence, being an efficient government, and also doing the balancing to where this city and the people of this city can continue to thrive. And so I look forward to those challenges and continuing to do the work. It's exciting.
Another headline, Kim, is going to be the budget you presented.
Yes.
It lowers the tax rate, but we know yesterday's price is never today's price, right? So
That's right.
prices continue to go up.
That's right.
Will taxpayers, homeowners see a decrease in that tax bill?
They'll see a decrease. Last year's decrease is a bigger one. But we also understood that as we balanced the budget, and because of the way the Senate Bill 2 was designed, we had to be under a certain cap on our reappraised value. And so we're actually under that cap. The cap is 3.5%, we're at 3.4%. So really, there was not an automatic reduction in the property tax that we had to take, but we still provided that because we believe that it's important to continue to provide that relief for our homeowners. This council has been successful 10 consecutive years. We have been able to bring that tax rate down. I look forward to seeing what council is going to do. We proposed it's a half a penny reduction. To some people that's not big, but what I can tell you is that any opportunities that we have to do it, we're going to put it out there, and we're going to give the council members an opportunity to tell us how great our paper. They might decide to do more or less, but it's not because we're not listening, and we definitely want to continue that trend going forward. So some, depending on the value of their property, might be a bigger one. Some, it might be more of a minimal decrease, but it is a way for us to continue to show that we're listening, and we want to do everything that we can as we continue to work on the ways we deliver services. We want to do it in a way that when we can provide that relief, that we absolutely make that a part of what we include in our budget year over year. So I'm excited about it. I'll see what council does.
How do you have a budget that's more expensive and still cut property taxes for residents here in Dallas. Kind of help us understand the math a little bit.
Absolutely. So it's really based on a couple of equations. You look at your total new construction. So if you look at the budget, the growth is about 11 billion from appraised value growth. And of that, about 1.9% was from the new construction, which is about 4 billion. And then the rest of that was from the reappraised value. So those valuations continue to pump additional resources into the city, which is a good thing. The way that we believe that we have to continue to address then providing that relief is through some type of a property tax reduction. So the resources are good, they come in, they help us take care of just the normal increases in services, the cost of supplies, equipment, all of those things. We're just like managing your household, things go up. And so, but having that ability to be able to get that additional revenue every year is great. But we also know that then those expenses come. And so again, it's a balancing act. How do we then take that additional revenue and truly address the investments that we have to make in those core services and the things that really matter the most? So the valuations, and we don't control the valuations, by the way, that's done through the appraisal districts, but it truly shows that the growth that's happening, and then we take that growth, and as long as we're under that cap, we don't have to do that automatic property tax reduction, but it does give us a way to be able to bring that tax rate down to provide relief to the homeowners. So it's a balancing act overall. And then hopefully we're going to get a little bit better on sales tax. That's one of the most volatile revenue sources that we have. And again, it's back to the local spend. You know, we want more and more of our residents. We want you to spend your money in Dallas. We want you to shop in Dallas. And that definitely will help us in balancing the budget year over year.
Let's talk about population. You can hardly listen in on a city council meeting without there being mention of population loss. Mm-hmm. Is Dallas still losing population? How do you bring it back up and attract more people to want to live in Dallas?
Absolutely. And that's a great question, because I think that's what you will probably see around other big urban centers around the country, is that you have those high swings and you bring those low swings. So I think there's a slight decrease. However, we're seeing growth in, you know, whether it's downtown. I live downtown. We're seeing growth in our Deep Ellum area, Bishop Arts area. Uptown is growing. We are still number one when it comes to corporate relocations, which is a great position that we're in. We are the number 2 financial capital market in America. And so I think those things will continue to show the strength that we have as a city. And I believe people want to be here. And so as we continue the work that we're doing, working very closely with all of our stakeholders, we have such a strong private sector supportive ecosystem out there. And they knock on the door. They are doing the work. They're out there on the grounds. We've got our new Economic Development Corporation that I'm truly excited about, that we're working hand in hand with. So there are things that we know that we have to continue to do to maintain our competitive edge. It starts with being fiscally sound. That's why I talk so much and I focus so much attention on the way we're looking at the budget. But there are things that we just have to continue to do. We've got to make sure that we have the housing that people want to live in our city, and being able to bring back those middle income families that for years and years we priced them out of the market. So housing is a big piece of that equation. You know, there's this saying that you can't have the economic development without the rooftops, because they go hand in hand. So that's going to be what you will continue to see us focus on as a city, because we know how important it is to have people work here, but we want them to live here. And so we've just got to continue to roll up our sleeves and find ways to turn a lot of the policies that are already on the books, the housing policy, the eco policy, we've got to turn those policies into progress.
Kim, what are some of those? Because that's not something we've really talked a ton about.
Sure.
Ways to get housing prices more in line with what the average family can afford here in the city.
Yes. So the affordability piece is something that I know that the City Council is truly focused on. The housing policy is really allowing for us to have a combination. We need new single family. Mm-hmm. We need multifamily. We've got to make sure that we have that I would call the incubator housing, where people can move from one level of housing to a next. And so it's really a combination of efforts, being able to let a lot of that be driven by the private sector. How do we incentivize it? And how do we make sure that that's happening in parts of our city where we know that the housing stock has not kept up? And so the policy is really allowing for us to be more intentional with how we show up, and we're incentivizing developers and the ways that we want them to come and be able to do business with us. It is not an overnight, this is not an overnight kind of party. This is going to be ongoing investment decisions that we have to continue to make, and the council will continue to make the ways that we reshape those policies to make sure that we're not in the way, but we're creating the opportunity, and we're actually sharing where those opportunity areas are to where we can truly bring the different type of housing up to scale. And then creating the stable housing also that we need, and making sure that people feel safe. So all of those things work together, and that's what we have to continue to focus on if we're really going to then do I talked about attracting, and even if we track these corporations, they want places that they know that their employees are going to be able to live safely and raise their families and have access to great quality of life. So it's a combination of many, many things that we have to continue to do well.
The Dallas Mavericks want a new arena. How do you keep them in Dallas?
Woo, listen, I absolutely love the Dallas Mavericks and the Dallas Stars. I need both of them to stay in Dallas. They are brands that truly demonstrate all that Dallas has to offer. We're having great discussions. We are working alongside of great leaders in both of those organizations who truly understand, Dallas is home. We want them to be at home. We want them to continue to be at home. And so we're actively taking care of that business. And hopefully very soon we'll be able to talk more about that publicly. But I do believe that we're headed in the right direction. I think the commitments are there. And we want to make sure that we deliver on those commitments. So Ms. Kim loves both the Mavericks and the Dallas Stars. I love both.
And conversation is underway. I want that on the record.
Conversations are underway and will continue until we know that we have done all that we can do to make sure that both of those teams will remain in our city for many years to come. Absolutely.
Just 2 or 3 quick ones left.
Okay.
The Dallas Wings. Everyone's
Yes.
excited about them moving to Dallas.
Yes.
What's the status?
Yes, I am truly excited that the rise of women's sports is just it brings joy. This movement is incredible because it truly shows what women bring to sports in general. And so really excited about the Wings and that they're just going to be like right over here behind us here at City Hall. The work is underway. We are working with the leadership within the Wings organization to get everything ready to go on the practice facility. We've got to deliver that practice facility by the spring of next year. That's our commitment, and we're focused on doing that and get the arena open here right after that. And so that work is underway. It's going well. We are working to make sure that all of the elements that we need to ensure that are within both the practice facility and the new arena, that those are there, and they're done at the level of excellence that we would expect to have to be able to provide for women's sports. I'm excited about it. I was just at a Wings game, and I will tell you, they are packing out the house. Absolutely love it, and look forward to continue the working with that great organization and the leaders there. Yeah,
You ready?
It's exciting.
Huh?
We gotta get ready for council.
Okay, last one.
Okay.
Oh, shoot.
That's
Let me get 2 more. World Cup and closing thoughts. Come on. Okay, here we go. Come on, Kim. I promise. Okay, here we go.
I gotta tell you, let me talk faster.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
World Cup in a couple of months. Are you ready? How excited are you to have the International Broadcast Center?
Oh, wow. Every time I think about how this is going to put us on this world stage, I get excited. We get in the house together. We are working in collaboration with so many partners around this region. This is truly going to be a win for the region. And we're doing it together. So we are expecting for the move in of the International Broadcast Center in January. That's just a few months away. And we're going to be ready for them. Can't wait for them to swing the doors open, start moving in equipment. And so everybody is excited. We're geared up. This regional approach is just so refreshing. And I would hope that even beyond FIFA, that we will continue that energy in how we work and continue to do things together. So we're excited, we're ready. The games that are going to be played here in the region are just going to bring so much excitement for this community. And so we're excited. The volunteer opportunities opened up this past week, and I wanted to put my name on the volunteer list, but we're excited, and it's going to be great for not only for Dallas, but it's going to be great for every city in this region, and we will all celebrate those successes together. So I'm looking forward to it.
Last question, what's your vision for the city of Dallas, and what do you want people to know about you as their city manager?
Yes, I've talked about vision a lot because I really do see us as a globally recognized city, a city that continues to build this model of excellence and how we can do more around innovation, be more efficient. I talked about targeted growth, but all of that is to where people, all businesses can truly thrive and reach their potential in our city. And as long as we continue on the path that we're on, I do believe that is a vision that is being realized every single day that we show up. I've talked about my favorite quote by James Baldwin, and it was something that he said in 1970. Hope is invented every day. And so I want to make sure that everything that we do, that it's about how do we continue to lift people up in this community? How do we invent that hope? Because many people have given up. Many people don't trust and believe in their local government. We want to be the city where they do, because I strongly believe that government can be a positive force in the lives of the people that it serves. When I think about what I want people to remember me for, it's more about what I delivered. And did I do things in a way that when people drive down the street, when they are out in their communities, when they see things around their neighborhoods, that it was better because I was here. And I truly rolled up my sleeves and made that lasting impact and that difference in this community. And that I completed the assignment in a way that moved this city forward. That's what I want people to remember.
Kim, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so very much for having me.